Thank you for tuning in to the Cisco Corner, and welcome for another original short narrated story. Please let me know what you think in the comments after the story.
The sun was attacking my skin aggressively. My fair skin was redder and more cooked than any crab I've eaten this trip. Hell, that I've ever seen on the Red Lobster tank. What started as a 4-hour deep water fishing excursion has turned to one of the greatest adventures I've had. We landed on the island of Kauai through Lihue Airport, I think is how it's said, from California's ALX. I am CEO of Ink Tech Innovations, Alan Schmidt at your service. And after not only a very successful 4 quarters and climbing the corporate ladder to heights I never thought possible, I've earned some good time off and whatever else I desire. Nothing's impossible anymore. I've always admired fishing. I try my hands at elusive prey. Sometimes regulation makes it impossible to have fun or catch what I desire. It's not my damn fault other humans fished or mess up any other natural systems. All I know is that I'm entitled to my own human experience, regardless of regulation. Once we landed, we set out on our boat trip. Fortunately enough, we caught a marlin day one, but no other big game, just small fish. Once we got back on shore, we were able to meet some locals who ended up inviting us over, cook the fish we had caught for the day. They were very kind, offering local drinks, as well as preparing the fish in traditional ways. Once all of our bellies were full, and of course our lips were loose, they started to spin a tale. This tale has now engrossed me in a way I haven't been obsessed with in a long time. But according to our host, there are extremely rare octopus still around that are connected to the Hawaiian mythological god Kanaloa. Legend has it, if you find and catch and consume one of these octopi, you will gain powers that akin to a fraction of Kanaloa. The trip went from 7 days to 10 to then 14 and now has become indefinite. But regardless of all this time, it has been unfruitful. No glimpse, no glimmer, no type of fuel for hope. Regardless of myth or truth of the legend, I will be able to say I have experienced that which handful of men in history have. I must have seemed hysterical to the locals, a crazy tourist, grasping at straws, got drunk and lost his passport, lost it all to drugs, maybe gambling, who knows. I could only speculate what they were thinking, just how they could only speculate what I was saying to them. But one night it was different. In my frantic search, after another full day of taking the boat back out at sea and finding nothing, I found a man. Or should I say, this man found me, as if he found me out of his own volition. He stood at what seemed like 5'4", with deep white color hair, which looked strong but showed his long life journey. A tan complexion, that of a fisherman's, his skin looking so dry and salty that my eyes dried from the imaginary taste. Scars and cracks all over, much like a man who made his living from fishing great beasts from the sea. But even though this older, fit, rugged gentleman stood before me, he carried a large, calming aura around himself. I was unable to put it into words, but this did not make it any less tangible. His nails were finely trimmed with no dirt. His beard and hair did not have a speck of dirt or frizz, even though the winds of the shoreline had not let down since I had arrived on the island many days ago. He did not speak to me at first, but his stare stopped me on my tracks. His eyes being a dark ocean blue and bright gold yellow at what seemed to be at the same time independent, but almost as if both colors were intertwined. As he approached me, my anxiety subdued. Calmness overflowed from him to me. He simply stated, I hear you seek something that I may be able to help you with. Humor me and earn the information you seek. Worth or not, who knows? He spoke with a heavy accent, but he was clear to understand. No stutter or mispronunciation. He started to walk on a path deeper into the island, as if me following or not does not change his directions or decisions. Without hesitation, I followed, admiring the things around me, as if being in a room that only now realized had windows to look outside of. The greens have never looked so green, and the wet never felt so wet. In my obsession to accomplish, experience, and obtain, I have not taken the moment to actually witness the wonders I was surrounded by. But just as quick as I felt the trance, I was able to shake out of it. I would have time to dwell in the path that I took once I was at my goal and obtained all that which not only I desired, but is also my birthright, as it is for any other person strong enough to travel through the paths that I have. We had walked from a clear path to now pushing brush aside by hand, foliage and grass blending, covering our legs below our ankles. My anxiety starting to grow, as if it was a smoldering fire that only needed a bit of uncertainty as fuel, increasing in intensity the further we went. But so was the magnetic curiosity attracting me to follow this perfect stranger. Well, I'm a stranger in these strange lands. Something is foreign to everyone, and everything is foreign to someone. As quickly as I went through these roller coaster of thoughts, emotions, a clearing was in front of us. A fishing hut with long canoes, spears, fishing nets, and other tools scattered about. Past the hut was a clear direct path to a shoreline, looking calm at this time of night, lit by the moon, but hidden by the dark. The crashing of waves making themselves heard, but not seen. The rattle of a snake in defense, without exposing itself before striking. The man turned to me, still silent, and guided me inside the hut. Proceeded to ignite a fireplace that was under a window. I attempted to speak, but I was either met with grunts or silence. And as I had made my profession through reading rooms, I knew that my voice would be unheard. Finally, with a fire going, a stew of fish cooking, and water in hand, the gentleman spoke. It must have been ages now. I can't even remember the year I was born. A simple life has allowed me to not worry about counting and just being constantly grateful. I love the land the same when I was born, then the same I will when I die, strongly and eternally. Life uses life to keep its flames going. Once life secludes itself from other life, then one strong flame will become many weak, dying flames, leading to its extinction. I was trying to follow, but I couldn't see how this would bring me any way closer to finding this damn octopus. I didn't want to be rude and did not dream of interrupting as he spoke again. The trail you see behind my hut is a hidden secret of this island. The life, land, water, and island tell me you seek an elusive prey. I know how you can find this prey, but you must do as I say. You will take a canoe at dawn. You will paddle west past the violent waters, and there, near the shore, by the coral, you will find what you seek. For bait, a small sacrifice. You will have to drop a few drops of your blood, and the rest is all in your hands. I suggest you eat and prepare, for after this passage of rites, you will never be the same spiritually. Everything I was thinking of saying left my mind. My lips and throat felt heavier than ever, only feeling light enough to slurp and eat. I haven't felt this nervous or alive ever. Now I'm only realizing I didn't tell my friends where I was. My phone was completely dead. My idiot self could be drugged, harvested for organs. What am I even doing? As the panic set in, my eyes opened. I was alone in the fishing hut, and it was dawn. I don't remember falling asleep. I only remember the last meal I had. But nevertheless, I did just as I was instructed. I grabbed a canoe, I grabbed a spear, and I started paddling against the current, head first into the waves, westward. Salt was in my eyes, water on my hair, determination in my heart. The wind was picking up, so was the water, both becoming more and more ferocious. It was becoming harder to tell directions, unknown if the paddle is even hitting water at this point. As the roar of the elements became unbearable, it all stopped, and there it was, a shore full of black sand. Corals with bright red colors. I took a moment to catch my breath, drink fresh water I had brought, and now I was getting ready. With the point of my spear, I pricked the tip of my finger to release drops of bait to the water. A beautiful purple octopus with yellow rings and blue aquamarine eyes with sparkles of gold staring back at me, and I stared at him. Or her. Whichever it was, their curiosity was their downfall, and my hubris was the reason for my victory. I found the shoreline with the hut much easier than when I was hunting for my prey. On the way back, the sun was high in the sky, as if this trip took much longer than what I thought. It only felt like 2 hours, but it seems to have been 3 times that. At least that's what the sun and my stomach seem to be pointing at. I cooked the octopus in the fisherman's hut, the most delicious meat I had ever consumed. And I hunted it all myself, and seeing that the fisherman's not around, I enjoyed it all myself. Regardless if I was stronger or not, this was definitely worth the trip. After I left the hut and chose a direction, within 15 minutes I was back in the town I had been staying at. But when I looked back, there was no path. And I couldn't even remember which directions I took along the way, or throughout the whole day, even if I wanted to get back. I tried asking around to the locals about the elder man, even at the hotel staff that I was staying at, but no one had heard of him, seen him, and I had no idea at this point who he was. I was grateful. We took a flight back to California and continued to acquire new heights. So that's what I thought. That was the plan. The plan was that this was an event that I could put on a list of things I had done. But 3 months later, and things are going so bad. So wrong. So horribly wrong. It started simple. It started with first losing my hair. I chucked it up to stress. New products. Anything I could come up with became an excuse. Then my teeth became brittle and my lips hard and callous. I sought medical help, but nobody knew what was going on. And I wish that was the worst of it. I started to produce oil from my skin. It started with just seeming as if I had pissed my bed, but I would leave it covered in mucus. I was asked to not come to work and to seek medical help. And guess what? They couldn't do nothing. No one knows what is wrong with me. My arm broke last week and it's not healing. Actually, my bones are only become softer. But as alarming as this was, it wasn't as alarming as when the shape of my eyes changed. When I was no longer able to run. Once I puked what I thought was blood, but it wasn't. It was black. It stunk and it stuck to you. almost as if it was an ink pen. And my lungs were no longer working. I couldn't breathe. But for some reason, when I took showers or baths, it felt like it was a breath of fresh air. I don't know how I managed it, and it was difficult. But after sneaking jugs of water under all this clothing and holding my breath from when I could, I'm back on a plane. Back to the island of Kauai. We landed and I ran out of the airport frantically. All eyes on me, but no one is doing anything to stop or help me. I stumbled onto the woods, hands and knees crawling, my arms and legs feeling like jelly, trees, grass, vines growing around me. Feels as if I'm reaching with 8 limbs instead of 4. I can't breathe. I can't stop. My skin feels like it's on flames. The ground below me sticking to my fingertips. The colors blending. Red turning into different shades of red, same as blue. Followed by green. I can see the colors within the colors. I reach the water. I can breathe. I can see. I can feel. But I cannot speak. I cannot scream. I cannot understand. But I'm slowly comprehending. The corals around me looking familiar. The black sand from the shore making me feel sick to my stomach. I had been here before. This is where I had caught the octopus. It seemed I took it from its home, and now I had become it. I was now the octopus. A voice booming through my thoughts in my head reminded me. Life uses life to keep its flames going. In my own hubris, I got what I wanted, but it came with more. So much more.
Thank you for tuning in, and let me know what you think. Hit the like button if you find it appropriate. And until next time.